It's been a long time coming, but finally the new Honda Civic Type R is here. This time, though it uses a turbo, is 5-door only, uses the VTEC system for the bottom of its rev range rather than the top, and was developed with the Nürburgring firmly in mind. Facing the talented seat Leon Cupra, Vauxhall Astra VXR, Renault Sport Megane, Ford Focus ST and 4-wheel drive RS, Audi S3 and Volkswagen Golf R, it re-enters one of the toughest sectors of the new car market. Fans of the brand's red badge needn't worry though, this one's faster, more hardcore and more visually arresting than anything the firm has produced previously. That engine, so the new Honda Civic Type R retains the familiar 2-litre 4-cylinder layout of its predecessors, but this time it's had a turbo bolted to it, primarily to reduce emissions and fuel consumption. And this it manages, but the delightful side effect is a 306 bhp power output complemented by a 400 Nm peak torque figure. And where you'd need over 6,500 revolutions per minute on the dial to take advantage of peak performance before, by using the VTEC at the bottom rather than at the top of the rev range, this car develops the torque at just 2,500 revolutions per minute. The engine's red line is still posted relatively high at 7,000 revolutions per minute, and peak power is delivered just 500 revolutions per minute earlier, but it makes it a much more tractable and easy car to drive quickly. In fact, it'll sprint from 0-62 miles per hour in just 5.7 seconds and tops out at 167 miles per hour. The chassis adaptive dampers, bespoke front suspension components and a mechanical limited slip differential. If you were to jot down a wish list of individual components to have on your hot hatch, the Civic Type R would have them. The dampers constantly monitor the movements of the car to keep it as flat as possible, altering the flow of oil in their damping tubes to reflect the conditions and task asked of the car, though if the Civic is one thing, it's very firm. There's a new Plus A mode which relaxes the stability control system, changes the throttle map but doesn't give any more power, steering, and increases the damper's stiffness by 30%. You should never use it though, unless you're chasing a sub 8-minute lap of the Nürburgring where it was specially developed. It's certainly way too stiff for any UK road we know of. Talking of the ring, though, Honda's engineers were mildly, and unusually, obsessed with it, telling us the limited slip differential improved the lap time there by around 3 to 5 seconds. Alongside a new dual-axis front suspension, which separates torque from the transmission to the suspension unit, torque steer is greatly reduced. The steering's still missing that last degree of feel and feedback though. At least the 40mm shift stroke from the machined metal gear knob should be viewed as a masterclass in gearbox know-how and shift feel. Brembo brakes with huge 350mm discs up front ensure the car stops almost as fast as it accelerates. Those looks, it might be a 5-door only these days, but the new Honda Civic Type R looks absolutely mental. There's no question of it failing to stand out amongst a crowd, no matter how luridly painted the other vehicles are. Replete with wings, spoilers, vents, fat exhausts and huge 19-inch wheels, there's little for the serial car modifier to turn their hand to. Everything's said to have a function though, and the Honda Civic Type R boasts of negative lift or downforce across both axles, thanks in part to its near-flat underside and huge rear wing. The front end's air intakes, 4 square meters worth, send airflow through to the engine for cooling and back out through the vents on the front wings and trailing edges of the wheel arches. Those wheel arch extensions are bespoke, made of aluminium and have a 42% weight reduction over a conventional steel panel, allowing for the Civic's wider, more aggressive track. Faster, more agile and cheaper to run, the new fast Civic promises to be better than ever. So read the rest of the Parker's Honda Civic Type R for review to find out if it's the best in the class. Performance. Previously Honda Civic Type R performance was all delivered at the very top end of the engine's river range, with the VTEC system starting to do its best work north of 6,000 revolutions per minute. But this is the first time that clever VTEC technology has been married to a turbocharger, and the result is this generation of Type R makes its peak power at 6,500 revolutions per minute and, more tellingly, it's 400 Newton meters of torque from just 2,500 revolutions per minute. It's a single-scroll turbocharger, and by using the VTEC and variable timing systems, the car fills in the power lower down the rev range. Certainly, compared to the rather frenetic delivery of previous models, this car is like night and day, and where previously you'd have been reaching for a lower gear to bounce the revs off the limiter, making the most of the performance on offer, it's simply not necessary on this car. In fact, it's a much lazier car to pedal. But with this added mid-range punch, there is a compromise to be made, and this 2-litre turbocharged engine misses out on the previous car's character. There's no noticeable change in the delivery of the power as the revs climb, no dramatic change to the induction or exhaust note, and none of the racing to the red line. Disappointingly, it sounds strained rather than delighted to be north of 5,500 revolutions per minute, and the meaty exhaust note soon degenerates to a booming background at the cruising speeds. There's some fizz and resonance to be felt through the controls too, though this may have been more indicative of our car's pre-production specification than anything else. Honda has always been famed for its superb gearboxes though, and this car is no different. The shift stroke is only 40 mm, said to be the shortest in its class, and it certainly feels it on the road. Swapping between cogs is delightfully precise, with a mechanical feel to the shift missing from many rivals. It's simple, rounded, brushed metal gear knob looks and feels great too, though we know from experience that in extreme temperatures, depth of winter and height of summer it can become uncomfortable to hold for very long. There's no automatic option available on the Type R. Driven hard, the Honda Civic Type R will sprint from 0 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and won't stop accelerating until you nudge 167 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest hot hatches in the segment. Handling: one of the first things you'll notice about the Honda Civic Type R when you actually start driving it in anger is just how composed the chassis is, with little in the way of body roll even at ludicrous corner entry speeds. In fact, even quick succession direction changes fail to really unsettle the car. We can thank the adaptive dampers for that. They constantly monitor the car's attitude through whatever action is being asked of it and use valves to alter the oil flow to change their reactions on the move. And thanks to the standard fit mechanical LST, which apportions power to the outside front wheel rather than simply braking the inside rim as found in a torquey vectoring system pushing the nose closer to the apex, the front end of the Civic has masses of grip. It's incredibly confidence-inspiring, and you'll often find yourself undregging the car's capabilities as you tip it into a corner. What could be more confidence-inspiring is the steering. It's finely weighted, with a relatively linear response, but sometimes you just wish for an inkling more feedback through the leather-wrapped helm. Occasionally you'll notice tiny nuggets of information being transmitted through to your fingertips, but it doesn't happen enough. With specially designed suspension struts that are formed of two distinct components allowing the strut to act independently of the axle's torque transmission to the wheel hub, torque steer is minimized. And considering there's 400 Newton meters being fed through the front axle, the Type R's steering is remarkably free from corruption under power. It's certainly less busy than the already improved Ford Focus Street, even if it's not quite as communicative on the move. Pressing the +R button doesn't really help, as though it's said to add sportiness to the drive. For the steering, it simply makes the weighting more extreme. It'll also change the throttle map, along with making the instruments glow red, and crucially make the dampers 30% stiffer. But it's really not needed, There's no more power from that throttle map, it simply provides more torque for less of a press of the pedal, and the Type R is already borderline unbearably stiff. The engineers concede that it's actually set up with one place in mind, the Nürburgring, and our experience would suggest there will be no situation on a UK road where its performance will be preferable to the standard setup. We'd even question its use on a smoothly surfaced racing circuit. That said, it does lessen the grip from the vehicle stability assist VSA for a more playful attitude at extremes. Unfortunately, our limited time with the car didn't allow us to fully explore the chassis limits under such provocation, but it certainly doesn't feel as playful as a Renault Sport Megane Trophy. Equipment. As the top trim level in the range, the Honda Civic Type R benefits from a comprehensive standard kit list, and there are only two trims to choose from: Standard and GT. Standard Honda Civic Type R equipment priced at just under £30,000. The standard Honda Civic Type R comes with the same 2-litre turbocharged engine, 19-inch alloy wheels, special Brembo brakes, adaptive dampers and mechanical limited slip differential as found in the higher spec GT model. It also comes with keyless entry and start, climate control, Bluetooth connectivity, cruise control, a rear view camera, tinted rear windows, 7-inch touchscreen with DAB radio and app integration with internet browsing. There are also the excellent sports seats, alloy gear shift knob and pedals, start-stop, LED headlights and the city brake active system. Pay the extra cash for the GT trim and your Honda Civic Type R will gain a series of kit to lend it a more premium feel, one of the most significant being the Garmin sat-nav built into the 7-inch Honda Connect system alongside a premium 8-speaker stereo system. After that, the cabin is lifted thanks to ambient lighting, dual-zone climate control and an auto-dimming rear-view mirror. The windows can be operated from the key fob, though we're not entirely sure why you'd want to do this, and parking sensors front and rear are added along with a tonneau cover for the boot. Safety is taken care of by auto lights and wipers and the driver assistance safety systems. As a package, this includes forward collision warning, lane departure warning, high beam support system, blind spot information, cross-traffic monitor and traffic sign recognition. Optional Honda Civic Type R accessories. There are actually very few single options available for the Honda Civic Type R, but these include Honda 3D Sound, which introduces a digital signal processor to recreate a live concert hall experience when listening to the stereo. There are 5 colors to select from too, including white, grey, red, blue and black. Talking of colors, there's a number of option packs for the Civic Type R, and these include the red exterior pack, which uses red accents for the grille, mirrors, rear diffuser and roof spoiler. The red interior pack follows the same rule for the air vent surrounds, steering wheel sections, door sills and adds ambient tread lighting to the footwells. If you'd rather decorate your Civic Type R with racy-inspired carbon fiber, Honda also offers the carbon exterior pack with fog light surrounds, tailgate detailing and rear wing finished in a lightweight material. There's a choice of gloss or matte finishes too. Again, the weave can be applied inside, covering the air vent surrounds, glove box and center console. Comfort. Sit up front and the excellent chairs mean Honda Civic Type R comfort is superb. There's plenty of support to keep you composed at speed, and for longer journeys there's enough given the cushions to eliminate any backache or numb bum syndrome. We only wish they were mounted 20mm further lower still. They're currently 20mm lower than the standard car's ordinary chairs to take advantage of what would otherwise be a near-perfect driving position. The gear knob is closely placed next to the steering wheel, itself featuring thinner spokes for a more comfortable grip, and the pedals are perfectly placed for heel and toe gear changes. But by God, this car is firm. Like really firm. That means it stays almost resolutely flat when cornering at speed, which is clearly commendable, but does deteriorate from your comfort when on longer, more mundane trips across narrow straight roads. There are adaptive dampers too, which constantly monitor the car's movements and adjust the oil channels within to subtly change the damping response. This eliminates stiffened pitch under hard braking and accelerating, as well as ensuring a level body during extreme crosswinds, for example. They just don't soften off to the point of comfort. Of course, part of the problem could be the 19-inch alloy wheels, which run narrow sidewalled 5R19 rubber. You can make it 30% stiffer if the masochist mood takes you, by pressing the plus a button to the right of the steering wheel. Designed single-mindedly with the Nürburgring in the engineer's thought processes, the firm does concede while the increase in stiffness helped around the green hell, it's not much benefit anywhere else, even another race circuit. Certainly on our test we managed to have it engaged on the road for mere seconds, not minutes, before reverting back to normal mode, and even on track it felt decidedly firm. One thing we do wish was switchable is the exhaust, which feels loud under hard acceleration and constantly droning at a considered cruise. A long journey with the dual tailpipes blaring away will be enough to see occupants reaching for the upper echelons of the stereo's volume control. Practicality. With its clever tip-up rear seats, the standard Civic has always been favored for its slow-dling ability, but Honda Civic Type R practicality is slightly hampered by this innovative system being deleted. It'll still hold just as much luggage overall, seats up or folded down, as the standard car, but removing the mechanism reduced the weight of the bench construction by 17%. Make use of the boot with those seats in place and the carrying capacity is 498 litres, while folding them flat increases the total to 1,214 litres. Like the car, its space on the Civic retains its 5-seat configuration with ISOFIX mountings for the outer pair of seats on the rear bench. There's ample space back the two, though the high-set solid seat shells from the chairs in front can make it feel a little claustrophobic. There are of course store pockets on each of the doors, though the ones at the rear are frustratingly small, and the front features a usable glove box and transmission tunnel-mounted cubby plus a pair of cup holders. Safety. Using the standard car as its base platform means that Honda Civic Type R safety should be its equal, and when tested by Euro NCAP the regular Civic was awarded the full 5 stars. And with the firm's advanced compatibility engineering, ace body structure and 6 airbags, you can see why. There is of course a standard electronic stability system, which you can disable if you are hoping to exploit your Civic Type R on a circuit. The Honda Civic Type R comes with City Brake Active CTBA, which uses a radar system to monitor the path ahead and if needs be will brake the car to a halt from below 90 miles per hour should it detect an imminent risk of collision with other vehicles ahead. Choose the GT pack and safety is even stronger thanks to standard fit adaptive cruise control and parking sensors front and rear. The advanced driver assistance systems include forward collision warning, which augments the CTBA system with visual and audible warnings, lane departure warning, high beam support system which switches between high and dipped beam headlights automatically at speeds above 25 miles per hour. Blind spot information is also included, as is cross-traffic monitor, which uses side-mounted radars to detect approaching vehicles when reversing, and traffic sign recognition system which reads signs at the side of the road and displays relevant information to the driver, such as the current location, speed limit. Reliability. If there's one thing this firm is famed for, it's this, and as such we'd bet good money after bad that Honda Civic Type R reliability will be as good, if not better, than that of its competitors. Despite the previous car's higher revving nature, Honda claims it's never had a failure from its VTEC system, which is an impressive statistic. In this car the VTEC works at the bottom, rather than at the top, of the rev range, and despite the 7,000 revolutions per minute red line, the engine's components are under slightly less stress, even though it makes more power. Some of the car is a relative unknown, with bespoke suspension with adaptive dampers, Type only bodywork and interior parts, but much is standard Civic, which has had no major issues to report. In fact, most owners buy them with reliability high up on their list of priorities.